assessments, and you are now going to the PARCC test. That is truly unfair, and I hope that this is looked at, and if you want to continue to use the PARCC test, that you give parents enough time to be able to understand that this was going to be used for entrance into the gifted and talented program. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is that there are about 310 spots open at Ciccarelli Academy, and this is according to the information on the NJDOE's website. There are about 250 eighth graders at our gifted and talented schools, 7 and 22. So that leaves about 60 spots open for the other 25, 24 schools left in Elizabeth. So that's about 2 to 3 students that have maybe the option of getting into the Ciccarelli Academy. Now, the only 2 schools that offer geometry right now are the gifted and talented schools 7 and 22. So my daughter that attends school 21, even though she's in the honors program, not the honors program, I'm sorry, what do you call that, Kayla? National Honor Society, does not have the opportunity to take geometry. So her GPA will not be that of the children that are coming out of the gifted and talented program because she doesn't have the opportunity. Every child that attends our K through 12 schools should have the opportunity to take geometry. And at School 21, they do not offer geometry. And I would appreciate it if you paid attention when I was talking and not talk to the board president. Thank you.
Marrera. Attendant Hugelmeyer, can you explain to the viewers and to the people that are here who don't come and listen to everything that we work very hard to put out, how the process works?
Certainly, I'll be glad to explain. So one of the key criteria for acceptance into gifted and talented, which in fact, I want to thank our Board of Education because it was as a result of the work that was conducted in the Education Management Committee meeting that in fact, Board President Carvalho proposed for us to examine changing the criteria for the acceptance into gifted and talented to ensure that every valedictorian and salutatorian from all of our schools had the opportunity to be accepted into our gifted and talented schools. This criteria was clearly communicated to all of our parents. Now, with regard to the testing requirements, in years past, we used the NJ Ask as the acceptance criteria for our gifted and talented schools. We are no longer going to be using MAP test. We felt that it was important that we continue with past practice, and that is what led to the change and incorporating the PARCC exam as the requirement. This is not unusual, as I stated. This is a past practice for many, many years here in the city of Elizabeth. Every child is provided with the opportunity. There's also information that was shared by our parent, Mrs. Marrero, that is not correct. The fact that our students attend the Gifted and Talented program at School 7 and 22 does not guarantee the automatic acceptance into the Frank J. Ciccarelli Elizabeth High School. So that's every student has the opportunity to be able to demonstrate that they have met the criteria for acceptance. It is not an automatic acceptance. Also, with regard to the acceptance into gifted and talented, all of our students take Algebra 1 in 8th grade, thereby providing them with the preparation necessary so that they can be successful when they enter high school. I hope that you find this helpful.
Thank you. Kayla Marrera. You could pull it out, Kayla, if you want. There you go.
Today, I would like to talk about the water supply in School 21. I feel that the water quality could be so much better. The water most times in the school tastes like I'm swimming in the pool and I accidentally swallowed some water. Other times, the water is very hot. And on the occasion that the water is cold, it still has a really weird aftertaste. I feel that there is so much more that can be done to better the water supply, and I hope that you take all my words into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Ethan Moreda. At this time, I close the public comment portion of the meeting. We're going to go through the minutes. All right. Tab 1A, approval of the minutes from April 10th. Any questions or concerns from the board members? Hearing none, Mr. Kennedy, please place that on the agenda. Tab 2.
3 sets of minutes in there, the
sorry.
19th, in addition to the 10th,
April, what are the dates, Mr. Kennedy?
10, 19,
April 10th, April 21st,
and 19.
and April 19th. It's all stapled together as one.
Yep, thanks.
Any questions or concerns? Hearing none, please place that on the agenda. Tab 2.
If I may, Board President, I'd like to ask Mr. Cuesta to provide a summary of our personnel report.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Excuse me. For your consideration tonight, you have a number of items, including several transfers of certified and non-certified staff. You also have a total of 20 retirements, which is not unusual for this time of the year, and that includes primarily certified staff, but also non-certified. You also have a few resignations. I had the opportunity to speak to not all of them yet, but to at least 3 of them, and the resignations are due to the fact that they are moving out of state, and we wish them the best. And like I always like to emphasize, we have a number of members of our staff, 7 in this case, who are getting an increase in salary due to the fact that they have a master's degree, 6-year level, and in this case, custodians who have obtained their boyless license. Thank you.
That's very good news to hear that our staff is continuing to educate themselves from our custodians all the way to our teachers and our supervisors. Thank you for pushing
Absolutely.
very hard for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any questions or concerns? Mr. Cuesta, I have one question. On the leave of absence, there's a lot of them.
Yes.
How does that affect us from now until the end of the school year?
Well, it's clearly a challenge to cover classes for individuals who legally have a right to request a leave of absence, and the reasons are, several reasons. Most of them are for medical reasons. So it is a challenge, and we do our best, and that is one of the reasons a couple of staff members have been transferred so they can help in those situations where there are extended absences due to a leave of absence.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns from the other board members?
Madam President, I do. On page 3, so it's scaffolding down all the way in the bottom, Division of Special Services, scaffolding of LAL benchmark for students with special needs positions. Can you go over that? Maybe Olga can go over that.
If I may, we're on tab 2A, page
Yes.
3.
Oh, sorry, I jumped to tab 2B.
Oh, okay.
Very
Oh,
Sorry.
So 2A, let's place that on the agenda. Let's move on to tab 2B. Board Member Barbosa.
Yeah, just the scaffolding of the LAL benchmarks. Can you just explain, is that just the benchmarks for the special needs children, and you just...
that is correct, yes, so
I s-
absolutely. So we ensure that when we, as stated here, the recommendation is to have a committee of teachers that will be appointed to be able to ensure that we are following the proper recommendations of adhering to the needs of our special needs students and taking our general education, language arts benchmarks and ensuring that they are revised in a way that will meet the specific needs of the students.
Okay, thank you.
Will we be able to receive a report? Or how do we know what happened at the end?
Certainly. So upon the completion of the benchmarks being reviewed, you certainly could receive a copy of the assessments. If you would like, we can make that available to you on the cloud, and you can review them and even look at the general education for comparative purposes.
Perfect. Special Ed Committee will look for it on the cloud. Thank you.
Certainly.
Any other questions on or concerns? Tab 2B. Hearing none, please place it on the agenda. Tab 3. Tuitions report. Questions or concerns? Hearing none, please place that on the agenda. Tab 3A. It's a continuation of the tuitions report. Hearing no questions or concerns, Mr. Kennedy, please place that on the agenda. Tab 4A, considerations.
I would just like to bring to the board's attention the variety of professional development opportunities that are being made available that our teachers and our administrators are certainly pursuing, a lot of which occurs over the summer. So it's just wonderful to see the number of summer institutes that our folks will be pursuing this upcoming summer.
Madam President, 4A, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to bring note on page 3. You know, it's important for us to, I know Director Diana Pinto Gomez isn't here, but it's important to see that, you know, a lot of our directors and teachers take part in this learning, and a lot of people might just bypass this. So it looks like the director is herself and Sherry Ferry are going to attend the PBSIS, which is a program we have, you know, our superintendent went over it with us, program we have here in our district, which means positive behavior schools in schools. So it's a reinforcement, and it's teaching how to reinforce the positive behavior in our students. Sometimes, you know, we think that things aren't happening, but, you know, she's going to get specialized, and she's going to attend it to learn and use this program that we have in our district, the PBSIS. I know we don't talk about that enough, but it's here, and it's important that we note that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. The fact that we continue to that we don't celebrate enough of the good things that we do, especially when it comes to our directors. Yeah, no smiles? All right. Ah, there you go, Mr. Cotto. I got a smile.
We're good.
Tab 4B, use of facilities. Questions or concerns? I had a question on the Urban League, number 7. Mr. Kennedy, I just question, is this for the children? Is this for adults? Our family's almost complete.
It was good. So moved.
Yes. It's for seniors? Okay, we have the answer. The answer is it's for seniors. Board Member Jacobs, do you want to? We can't hear you.
So it's my understanding that the Urban League is starting a gentleman's ball for high-achieving African-American senior males. So this will be their first annual gentleman's ball.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. Any questions or concerns for 4B?
Yes.
Board Member?
Number 6, request from Hispanic Health Professional Association of New York. Will be open for the public, and we will communicate to our community.
Yes, this is offered on an annual basis, and the information is shared community-wide.
Okay.
I can also attest to that, Board Member. I have attended the last few years. The doors are open to everyone in the community to come and get from dental work to blood pressure. they do an amazing job for people who don't have any insurance in the community, and a lot of our children and their families do partake in this, so it is an amazing program, and I'm glad they're coming back to help us.
I'm glad to.
Any questions or concerns?
Madam President?
Yes, ma'am.
Number 2, can you just go over the SOAR summer program, SOAR?
If I may, I'm going to refer to Mr. Neron to provide a
Who can
detailed
really tell you.
description of the amazing opportunities.
So SOAR Summer Program stands for Special Achievement for Special.
Oh, we're in trouble now.
It's Special Opportunities for Achievement and Reawakening. Okay,
There you go.
had a long day.
Good job.
Special Opportunities for Achievement and Reawakening. It's a after-school enrichment program, and in the summer, it services over 500 youth throughout the city. It goes from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday during the summer months. They focus on recreation, literacy, counseling, and enrichment. It's a one-stop shop for families and the students, where we provide resources to the families who, may be in need, may not be in need, through various partnerships that we have throughout the city. It's been going on now for the past 20 years. It's been an awesome partnership with the school system. Originally, it was a neighborhood community service center funded program through the Department of Children and Family Services from the state of New Jersey. The state analyzed the program, said, well, you guys are doing really well on your own. You could go ahead and fund it on your own. And they took the funds further South Jersey to start replicating that model in South Jersey, where they saw there was a greater need in Trenton, Camden, so forth and so on. So since then, we've replicated that program, duplicated it in both School 23, now School 1 and 9, and we also have a high school model that is now, when the kids aged out of the program, is from ages 6 through 14, there was no enrichment program for high school students. So now the high school students, 13 through 18, now have a mentorship and leadership program model where they go on college tours throughout the summer. The unique thing about the SOAR and Safe Haven program, so everybody calls the program SOAR, but they all have different names. So the one at School 1 and 9 is called the Safe Haven program, the one at 23 is called SOAR, and the one at the high school is called Building Future Leaders. All of them get the opportunity to go to a free summer sleepaway camp at the end of the program, where we take about 100 children each program to summer sleepaway camp for free at no cost to the students and the parents. And they get to experience, survival skills, team building, and various recreational activities. And we get a chance to expose students who have never been outside of their community to get outside the community. And all of the programs go on college tours in the summer. So we start to expose them on colleges and universities at an early age, all the way up to the high school level. Didn't mean to make this a whole presentation, but you asked me the question. So.
He's very proud of
Very
his
thorough.
program.
Does that answer the question?
Commissioner, how do we get in?
How do we get in? Applications are available through the Office of Youth Services. The students who have the first opportunity to actually sign up for it are the participants who are there throughout the year. So they get first dibs at it, and then the applications open up, and it's been open now since, I believe, the second week of April. And, they've already been.
So question is there still room in there?
It's probably a waiting list at this point. So it's probably a waiting list. And the program is very popular. It's been working very well through word of mouth. But now with a partnership with the Board of Ed, the word has definitely gotten out. And this year we had the opportunity to meet with the counselors throughout the district, where they got a chance to tell their teachers and the principals about it. And they're really, referring students to the program,
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay.
If there's no other questions, please place 4B on the agenda. 4BB, use of facilities with pay. Mr. Kennedy, please reflect on 4B, that is with a waiver of fees, and 4BB with fees. Any questions or concerns for 4BB? Hearing none, please place that on the agenda. 4C, field trips.
If I may, I'm going to ask Mr. Cortez to provide a summary of our field trip considerations.
Lot of field trips.
So, this agenda contains 121 total field trips,
Woohoo! 121 field trips.
yes, which I believe is the highest for one particular month this school year. There are also 13 field trips are going to colleges and universities. 6 field trips are for Liberty Hall and Boxwood Hall. There are also 5 field trips initiated by Mr. Goldblatt's office. And I would also like to highlight a donation that we just received for, you'll see it in 5A, page 2. It's a donation by the Gilder Lerman Institute of American History for 50 Broadway tickets to see Hamilton for our Dwyer students.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for working so hard on this. I know you've really pushed it this year, and we do appreciate it, especially the Boxwood Hall and the Liberty. I know that's been challenging. Any questions or concerns on any of the field trips?
Yes.
Board Member Moreno Ortega?
Yes, I'm happy we have 110 field trips. My concern was last time, I don't see some school, they never have. I know it's the principal who need to request.
Yes,
Does
but
he-
I also want to share that some principals take advantage at the beginning of the school year, and they put all their field trip requests in for the entire year.
Okay.
So it's different months in which different leadership styles with
Thank you
regard
so much to
to the
explain.
submissions, absolutely.
Thanks.
Mr. Cortez, if I can ask, how are those children picked? How will they be selected to go on that, to see Hamilton?
Those are students who are taking AP history class. So the teacher solicited the tickets, and she was awarded the tickets. I believe this is the second year in a row.
That's wonderful, thank you. It's a great reward for those students who are working hard. Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none? Take an AP class.
Can I go too?
Please place that on the agenda. 4D is HIB. 4E is for private session. Tab 5. Our waivers, any questions or concerns on tab 5?
Madam President,
Board Member Jacobs?
a question on the authorization to accept funds, the $5,000 from WE Charities with the partnership with the Allstate Foundation to establish a food pantry at School 4.
Yes.
I want to say page 7. So my question is, what exactly will these funds be used for in establishing the food pantry? Do we know that?
We certainly do. So I'm going to ask Mr. Goldblatt, please, who manages our partnership with the WE Foundation, and in
So,
terms of the funding.
So this $5,000 was presented to the child from Baton that just came back from Los Angeles. And so Commissioner Jacobs, I can't specifically answer your question, but I'm sure this will be done with the consultation of the principal, Ms. Mendez, and Mr. Texera, who was the teacher in charge of this, and I can assure you that these funds will be put to very, very good use. The specifics I can't give you right now, but it's really a great thing and a great accolade for Sharnique to have brought this money back to her school. And I'm sure I can get an answer for you very soon on that.
So really, the reason why I was asking the question, I'm wondering if we can leverage with our local food pantries, such as James Carey, to help supply that food pantry as well.
So I believe, again, one of the reasons why Sharnique was given this award is because of the work that she's already done, and that she has leveraged the local community already. But again, I'll get you the details of how that $5,000 is going to be used and what she's doing to reach out to the community. But again, this is precisely why she was recognized in this event for the great work she's done already. So,
Thank you, Mr. Goldblatt.
Thank you. Any other questions or concerns?
I have one more addition that just came in, if I could. Add it to the authorizations report. So it's a authorization to accept a donation, that the Elizabeth Board of Ed approved the donation of 91 gift cards from Todd and Tanika Bowles of the Bowles 33 Foundation. A select group of female seniors attending this 2018 senior prom will be given a special monetary incentive to assist with their additional senior prom costs.
Thank you. Any questions from the board members?
Yes. How are we thinking of distributing? Have we thought that far along? Because I know it just came through.
Yeah, so typically every year, we work with our guidance counselors and our social workers in order to identify the students. Yes. And in fact, I would like to share, Mrs. Bowles will be attending our board meeting on May 10th. And in fact, it's a great opportunity for her to share her vision. She's been incredibly gracious every year in supporting our students, and I think it'd be a wonderful opportunity to engage with Mrs. Bowles with regard to this and the variety of activities that she supports in our district.
Thank you. Any other questions or concerns?
Yes.
Board
Page
member.
number 6. I want to make sure about the Eco Cruise. The Eco Cruise is attached to the curriculum. It is, for me, it's a great field trip. This means, I don't know if we have the possibility. Sometimes not every student has the possibility to be in a field trip. It is great. We can record and present in another classes. Like we using, of course, our student. Some of our ID Tech can record the field trip, and then we present in science class or in another classes, because we can take opportunity to record some of the field trip and then present to another student as a part of the curriculum. It's my, I don't know, my personal comment.
Thank you. Hearing no other questions or concerns.
One more
please
question.
put-
I'm sorry,
Yes.
Madam President. 2018-2019 school year food service proposed price list, is that the same one as this year? It's the
I'm
same,
going to
right?
refer to Director Levitt for clarification.
No, it's not. I increased the school lunch prices by 20 cents, which I do typically, or I recommend typically every year. And the other a la carte prices, I increased about 5%. This is so we can maintain a break-even budget.
Is this as we discussed? Okay, yes, this is as we discussed before, correct?
Yes.
Okay, it's keeping within what we said last time, how we were going to progressively take care of this. Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, please place tab 5 with the addition for the gift cards on the agenda. Tab 5A.
I would like to ask Dr. Cedeno to provide a brief overview of the New Jersey Child Assault Prevention Program grant that's made available on an annual basis to our district.
Certainly. So this year we have 4 schools that are applying for this wonderful grant. It's actually a partnership between the New Jersey Child Assault Prevention Grant and the New Jersey Department of Education, along with the Department for Children and Families. So this program comes into our schools and works with our teachers, actually our parents and our students, to prevent bullying and actually does some assault prevention. So in the fall of every year, the individuals come in and they plan a year-long program. So every year, about 3 to 4 schools have been participating, and in fact, almost all of our schools have had this program to date.
Looks wonderful, thank you.
Mr. Goldblatt, if you would like to speak with regard to the Healthy Leap into Summer, our annual event.
Sure. Healthy Leap is our 11th year in conjunction with the Gateway to Chamber of Commerce. They're super partners, and they're very, very committed to giving our students, in this case, it was the grade 12 students, opportunities to see what healthy diet looks like, exercise, staying away from drugs, cigarettes, alcohol, etc. So it's a very, very popular event that takes place at the Junction Center this year on June 8th from about 8:30 in the morning.
Question, will Shaping Elizabeth be a part of that also?
What is the
Shaping Elizabeth?
I don't know. I can check.
There's a long list of organizations that participate at Healthy Leap. There's more than 25 organizations. I also want to thank Trinitas Hospital and the U.S. Army because they are the main partners that participate and really take the lead on this initiative on an annual basis. But we'll provide the board with a list of all of the organizations that commit their time to this event.
Thank you. Mr. Kennedy, please put tab 5 and 5A on the agenda. Tab 6, authorization to pay vouchers. Questions or concerns? Hearing none, please place that on the agenda. Tab 6A is the transfer of funds. Please place that on the agenda. Tab 7. Any questions or concerns with the contracts?
I believe Mr. Cotto has some information he would like to share from this report.
I'd like to bring to the attention of the board that we are recommending the engaging on a contract with the EI Associates engineers that will be designing and preparing all the documents for installing air conditioning in school 2, 15, and 16, and the auditorium of 19.
Question. Is the Edison building being considered under that?
Not this time.
Any time in the near future?
Probably as we assess the availability of funding, we will include it into, that's one of the ones we have in mind.
It is part of the bigger plan, right?
Yes.
What school?
Edison.
Edison.
What's your question? The engineers? We requested.
Your mic's off.
Oh.
The question was, how were those schools selected for air conditioning?
They were selected because of, especially 2 and 15 are the ones that need mostly the ventilation, because the old ventilation system no longer is functioning, so they have no ventilation at all, unless they will open the windows. And the school 16, because it's already halfway in the system, we already have univentilators that can provide part of the system for it, so will be a less of an expenditure on it.
So where is School 6 on that list?
The school 6 is one of the ones we have in mind, but it will be probably subsequent years.
Excuse me?
Subsequent years.
Subsequent years.
This was part of the Finance
Yeah.
Committee work that we engaged in this past year.
Who's the chair of that committee?
Mr. Nina.
Oh, he's not here to speak on that, okay.
Yeah, we have a list of about 12 schools, and then we will slowly, what we're doing with School 6 this year is adding air conditioning to the cafeteria. So the bid is out. Actually, you have a recommendation here for us to accept engaging in contract with Echelon Services LLC.
What page are you looking at? Page 2. Thank you.
Page 2 on the bottom.
Okay. But that's just for,
That's just the cafeteria for now.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do piece by piece? I'm looking out for my adopted school, that's all.
Sure, we will, we have a whole list, and based on the needs as we see them, we did implement the whole basement gymnasium is already air conditioning also, the auditorium is air conditioning, but the next time around, we will go for the whole school.
Okay. I'll make sure I make you remember that one.
And that is the plan, and we are budgeting for that.
Yes, as the years come by, we will be adding schools to it.
If you recall, when we did the capital lease,
Right.
we scheduled out all the schools for air conditioning, but of course, we couldn't do them all at once. So there was a process in selecting the projects with the Finance Committee and then the presentation of the capital lease where those things were all decided on. What you're seeing tonight is moving forward with those projects.
Thank you, and it's nice to see us moving forward. Any other questions on tab 7?
Yes.
Board
On
member?
page 6, my question is, we will have national examination world language in the Portuguese language. That test is offered for Hamilton. It's optional. The student can take that test, or it will be mandatory.
My apologies, I was speaking to Mr. Neron, if you wouldn't mind repeating
Okay,
your
on
question.
page number 6, international education. Okay, we enter in a contract, and I'm happy with Washington, D.C. to the implementation of the national examination in world language. I'm happy because sometimes the student is a mandatory test, so the student can take the test as an opportunity to receive the scholarship because they speak, for example, Spanish and Portuguese.
This is directly related with our high school curriculum, and this is one of the requirements.
Okay.
Yes,
It's a requirement, a world language test?
it is, yes.
By the
Absolutely. For our
state?
students who are taking the Portuguese language at the high school.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, please place that on the agenda. Tab 7A, Superintendent's recommendation of approvals for contracts. Any questions or concerns? Board Member Moreno Ortega?
Yes, I'm happy we have a contract with Google Expeditions, and it is great to know. It's a Google Expedition Pioneer program. Is for the community. I want to just let you know it's one of the wonderful programs. And at some point, I would like to know how many educators we have with Google certification, because it is a great opportunity. And make sure if our student can take the Google certification too. That means I'm happy to see today, and thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or
you.
concerns?
Yes. Not a question or concern. I would just like to applaud Principal Alfaro from School 22 for what she's doing with her teachers and staff for Teacher Appreciation Week, which is very nice.
Very nice.
She's actually providing massages to all of her staff at no cost to the board.
We might need to look into that for and expand that.
I think so, and agenda-setting meetings.
Mr. Cortizo, would you agree?
Board Member Jacobs, you? No. Hearing no other questions or concerns, please place that on the agenda. Nothing on tab 8. Let's go back. That's what
Can
we're
we go
here
back?
for. Yeah.
Thank
tab
you so
7.
much. On page 4, the renew contract with APCO Paper, I noticed, did that go out to bid?
Wait, we don't have, there's no 4.
Tab 7A?
Tab 7.
Oh, 7.
Tab 7, page 4.
Tab 7, page 4.
Renew contract with APCO Paper.
I can answer that. APCO agreed to maintain the same prices that they gave us for 7-18 to extend it to 18-19 school year.
So it didn't go out to bid then?
No, it did not.
And is that the same also for the contract with US Foods?
US Foods is a part of NJPA Co-op. US Foods is like a national player in the K through 12 market. In this current area, New York, New Jersey area, they service at least 400 school districts. The distribution will be out of Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just so that, Board Member Jacobs, all contracts are reviewed by our law department also before they're placed on the agenda. Tab 10, tab 9, please place that on the agenda. Be ready for the May 10th. Tab 10, resolutions. I'll just go through them really quick. Cuban American Day, Haitian Heritage Month. Please place that on the agenda. Any questions or concerns from any of the board members? Looking forward to celebrating both. Tab 10B, maximum travel expenditures for 2018-2019. Questions or concerns? Please place 10B on the agenda. 10C, contracts for professional service, Educational Law Center. Please place that on the agenda. 10D, Union County Educational Service Commission, Coordinated Transportation Service for 2018-2019 school year. Question, this is for out of district?
Yes, for special needs students out of district.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns? Please place that on the agenda. 10E, payment for medical health insurance waivers. Questions or concerns? Please place that on the agenda. 10F, participation in coordinated transportation, Monmouth Ocean Educational Service Commission for 2018 through 2023. Why so long? Anybody?
I'm not sure on this one.
10F.
I have to look into this
Why
one.
from 2018 to 2023, not?
We will gladly provide the board a detailed report with regard to the multi-year contract, but I believe this is on an annual basis with regard to opportunities that we have pursued with regard to transportation. But we'll provide the details for the 5-year contract.
Okay, thank you. 10F.
Madam President, I think I might have asked Director Rijo this. So none of our school buses ever transport out-of-district children?
No.
Never, okay.
My only concern is that it's a 5-year
Oh, yeah, no.
contract. That's long.
They normally are 1 year. I don't know why this is
So
a
can
5.
we
I
change
could
it?
look into it though.
I think,
We'll provide the board with a report.
I think that it's not the year that's in question, but it's, we may not even use them. It just affords us the ability, if we have a student, they can transport them for us.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. 10G, resolution for member participation in a cooperative pricing system. Any questions or concerns? Hearing none, please place that on the agenda. 10H, Portugal Day. Questions or concerns? Please place that on the agenda. 10I, all of them? Mr. Kennedy, do I have to put this on the record?
I have a question about 10I.
10I, we did the first reading on these policies at the last meeting.
Right.
And then this will be the second reading and the adoption of those first reading policies.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Because,
Board Member Rosa Moreno Ortega?
Yes, we have time to review policy 6171.4, special education.
Well, they were on last month. That's for the first reading. This is
Is
now
the
the
same
second
policy?
reading.
Okay,
Yes, so
okay.
they're the
Okay, thank
same
you.
ones that we reviewed in committee.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly.
So if you have any questions, you have this coming week, and because we will adopt this at the next board meeting.
No, it's the same policy we reviewed during
Yes,
our meeting. Okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
Exactly. We'll have a new set for next month.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, at this time, we are finished with our
Others.
agenda. Yes. Okay, Mr. Kennedy,
We
please.
have, there's also going to be a first reading at the May 10th meeting of our new board self-evaluation policy, which is included right after those series. So it'll be the same process at that meeting. We'll do the first reading. They'll be available for review for the public in my office. And then at the June meeting, it'll be put on the agenda, and then it'll be adopted at the business meeting.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Madam President, I have a question. Is the reason why everything is crossed out is because we made a new one? Is that why?
Yeah, what it is the new wording is grade, which is what we went over at the retreat. And then, yes, the cross-out is what exists right now, so we're not going to use the old,
You're not gonna
the
use- that's
self-evaluation form.
Okay.
Perfect.
And I got two more resolutions for adoption of form of contracts, which were discussed in the award of contracts. One is an adoption for the U.S. Foods and Dry Goods contract, and the other was for the services for the cafeteria HVAC upgrades at school number 6. So we're just waiting for our final attorney review, and those will be on the business meeting agenda for a vote.
That project for School 6 will be on the agenda for next week.
Yeah, the actual contract, the form of the contract itself that the board will approve
It'll be on the cloud for the board members to review.
as soon as it comes in.
Perfect, thank you. At this time, do any of the board members have any new business that they'd like to speak about? Question any of the directors that are here? Mr. Kennedy, do we have any, do we know where we are with the short-term loan?
Short-term loan for,
That's on the agenda tonight.
that's going to be in private.
Okay.
Board President? Oh,
I actually have one question for Mr. Reggio, and I reached out, it was a complaint that I received from a parent of a high school student because of the testing. And because we were testing, there was no transportation for the high school students this past week.
The transportation was available, but just in the regular dismissal time. It was difficult. When I spoke to most principals, it was impossible for us to transport those students at the time after they tested and be able to do our regular K-8 dismissals. We would never make it in time because we staggered our routes.
And we had a modified schedule during that time, so that changed having the opportunity to have that overlap period.
Right. If we could just possibly for next year, before testing, maybe communicate with our transportation department, also with our principals, because I know, I personally received 3 complaints from parents that their children didn't, they finished school at 2, bus was only coming later on, so, they had no way of getting home, and there's really nothing for them to do in school because they didn't have class. So if we could possibly try to coordinate that a little better for next year, I think if we talk, if we communicate, we can figure it out. Any other board members have any questions?
This report about Division of Food and Nutrition Services is the information we request previous meeting.
This is actually, and I'd like to give credit to our board president because Board President Carvalho was very much interested in the policy that refers to management oversight. Tonight, Director Levitt will have the opportunity to provide an in-depth overview of the department. So we've provided a copy of the presentation to the board, and from this moment forward, there's been a schedule that our board president has approved, and at every agenda meeting, each department will be presenting a very similar approach to deepening the understanding of the operations of the various departments, and then we'll be moving also into the instructional divisions as well, and it'll provide an opportunity for an in-depth review of what we're offering in the district.
Thank you so much for that
So at
report.
this time, if there's no further questions from any of the board members, we are going to move on to our first presentation from our Food Service Director, Jamie Levitz. I would ask that all the board members save your questions to the end so that she can get through the presentation, and then we can ask all the questions we have.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jamie Levitt. I'm the Director for the Division of Food and Nutrition Services. I'm here to present my division to give you insight on the inner workings of the Food Service Division, specifically who we are, what we do, and how we service our customers. It is believed that sound nutrition is an integral component of a child's education. So with that in mind, Our goal, we are dedicated to students' health, well-being, and their ability to learn. Our mission is to support learning by promoting healthy eating habits, providing meals, foods, and beverages that meet state and federal requirements and are based on USDA dietary guidelines. Some fast facts regarding the division. We operate a budget almost $19 million. We serve over 30,000 meals per day. We manage 5 student federal feeding programs, in addition to a la carte sales and catering. We have direct staff of over 300 food service professional workers and 7 office personnel. 80% of our student enrollment qualifies for free or reduced price meals. And we also run a sustained district-wide, self-sustained, district-wide food service program. My next section, I'm going to discuss operating expenses and revenue. 92% of our revenue comes from federal and state sources. The other 8% is cash that comes from a la carte sales, catering, and the students that pay for meals. Our expenses, food, material, and supplies take up 40%. The next largest expenditure are cafeteria salaries and benefits. I also want to note here that 6% of our expenses are for breakfast and lunch teacher supervision. Then comes admin salaries and 2% miscellaneous. I did a comparison of revenue and expenses for the last 3 years. What's probably sticks out in this particular slide is in the year 2015-16, we had a profit of $1.4 million, and the next 2 years under $150,000. And that's because in 2016-17, we took Fund 11, which covers the 2-hour food service workers. We moved it to Fund 50. The programs we administer, first we start with school breakfast, then school lunch, then after-school snack program, which really we just serve the high schools and the SOAR programs. Then we have an after-school meal program, fresh fruit and vegetable grants, a la carte school sales, catering, and in the summer we have a summer food service program and also a summer vended program. School breakfast program. School breakfast program is a federally assisted meal program operating in public and non-private schools. The SBP started in 1966 as a pilot project and was made a permanent entitled program by Congress in 1975. How does the program work? The school breakfast program and the National School Lunch Program operate the same way. Schools that choose to participate must adhere to the federal requirements for meals, and districts receive cash subsidies for each meal they serve. Here in Elizabeth, we are on the universal free breakfast, which everyone receives a free meal no matter what their eligibility status is. Meal requirements for breakfast. I know this was a question at the last board meeting. The breakfast meal pattern is listed below. We have to make available these 3 components of the breakfast meal. It's either fruit or vegetables, whole grains, and milk. And here you can see is if you cross this chart, the portion sizes increase by grade levels. Reimbursements for breakfast. We receive $2.09 for free meals, $1.79 for reduced meals, and 30 cents for paid. I'd like to note here that all of our students receive free breakfast, but we don't necessarily get the $2.09 for all the meals. It goes according to eligibility. Our district breakfast participation, right now we're capturing about 51% of the total enrollment, or including the attendance factor, I'm sorry. National School Lunch Program. It works the same way as breakfast. We receive monies for these meals, and in return, we have to provide nutritionally balanced, low-cost or no-cost lunches to children each day at school. The USDA's Food and Nutrition Service administers this program at the federal level. At the state level, the New Jersey Department of Agriculture oversees our programs. We have an agreement with NJDA for this. How does the National School Lunch Program work? As I mentioned previously, we receive cash subsidies and USDA foods for each reimbursable meal. In exchange, we have to follow their meal pattern requirements. National nutritional requirements for lunches. Again, here is the lunch meal pattern. We have to offer every student these 5 components: fruit, vegetables, whole grains, a protein, and milk. And again, it lists the portion sizes that we have to offer across the board. Reimbursements received for meals served. Here the state kicks in 5 cents for each meal, and we, for free, $3.30, reduced $2.90. The students that are receiving reduced price meals also pay 40 cents, contribute 40 cents. And then paid, we get a total of 38 cents. We also receive an additional 6 cents per meal, and this is due to the Healthy Hunger Free Act of 2010. We were certified to be in compliance, and that's why we get this extra money. As a side note, this is Michelle Obama had a lot to do with this act as part of her Let's Move campaign. Oh, other support from the USDA. We receive what I call commodities, or their entitlement foods and bonus food. For example, in our warehouse on Broad Street, we receive cases of poultry, beef, canned fruits, frozen vegetables at only a cost of $2.35. What you have to bear in mind, like this is for quantity food cooking, so these are big cases to serve the thousands of meals that we do. What I typically do every year with the total assistance, I route 50% to the warehouse. I divert 25% to processed commodities, and the remaining 25% I route to the Department of Defense produce, which I use in the high school for salad bars. And here, of the last 3 years, is how much I accepted each year. So it runs about $1.1 million we receive in assistance. Lunches served in our district. Right now, we're capturing just about 80% of the population. Our after-school meal program. This we started about 4 years ago, and it allows our district to provide free meals to children who participate in after-school programs. Meals are free since 50% of our students are eligible for free or reduced price meal. We receive $3.46 per meal served, and we serve approximately 4,000 meals, after-school meals per day. Fresh fruit and vegetable grant. This is for the K through 8 schools, and it provides children in these schools a variety of free fresh fruits and vegetables that they serve throughout the day. And this next slide, this is the money we received in the schools that were granted the program. I'd like to comment, this year we had 7 schools. Schools 1 and 9 just received, they were number 1 in the very impressive program offered by the state. School 6 came in 3rd. As a result, Secretary of Agriculture Doug Fisher will be here May 10th to present schools 1 and 9 that award. at 2 p.m. Okay, summer school food service. We don't stop at the end of June when school closes. During the summer, we offer free breakfast and lunch to everyone who is attending summer school programs. We also have 2 summer vended programs. One is with the City of Elizabeth, and the other is Hillside Recreational. We provide lunches and some breakfasts to 48 locations throughout the city, and we serve approximately 300 breakfasts, 1,500 lunches, and 1,000 snacks per day. And this, we prepare all the food at School 25. Our drivers bring it to all these different locations, except for Hillside. Okay, here's my organizational chart. Me as director, Felici Salvatore, accountant. We have 36 head cook managers, 275 cafeteria workers, and then 6 secretaries and 1 SNAP technician. The SNAP technician takes care of our software. He's proficient in our software. Okay, here are our school food service employees and the hours they work. Okay, cook managers and general workers are really our front line. They prepare and serve meals to thousands of students in a limited amount of time. They order food, count meals, and perform general cleanup. They also must adhere to local health laws. They are also our first contact with students and most of the time parents. Okay, this is a sort of job description for me. I administer all facets of all the programs I just mentioned. I'm also in charge, responsible for safety, sanitation, procurement, supervision of school nutrition professionals, training, annual budget, state reporting, and I oversee payroll, cash collecting, and reporting. Mr. Salvatore, our accountant, is responsible with anything with a dollar sign next to it, such as reimbursement vouchers, profit and loss statements, cashier audits, and he manages our software system and is also responsible for accounts payable. Back in the office, our 6 secretaries and SNAP technicians prepare menus, perform nutrient analysis, pay invoices, maintain monthly inventory, process over 10,000 lunch applications per year, and complete a verification process. This is also where attendance is recorded and a bi-monthly payroll is done. Some of my future initiatives are test market new food products and trends, upgrade dining areas to encourage students to enjoy school meals, and also to make it more like a food court feel to it. I think I also want to communicate better with parents the value of school meals. And also next year in September, we'll start a grab and go in 6 high schools. I also would like to work closely with our vendors to sponsor promotional materials and events. And also this year we tried something new at School 1 and 9. We partnered with the Community Food Bank of New Jersey to provide farmers markets the 4th Friday of every month. And I think the last one we had about 260 families attend. So I would like to expand that to other schools next year. Oh, okay. In your packet, I included 4 sample menus. I know somebody, I think it was Ms. Bathlis, asked for these. I included 2 breakfast menus and 2 lunch menus for your perusal. And lastly, I invite you to visit us at our website. There's something there for everyone, parents, students, and staff. Okay, this is the conclusion of my presentation. I'd like to answer any questions and/or comments.
Madam President, if I may. Thank you for that presentation, Director. Very informative. We talked about breakfast, which is one of the most important meals of the day, and we understand that right now we're reaching approximately 51%, correct?
Correct.
And I know you're talking about implementing the grab-and-go program that will help to increase that. What are we doing for the elementary school level so that we can also increase it? Because I know I've sat on various committees throughout the state about breakfast after the bell and trying to see if we can increase that to 90 to 100% participation.
And mostly all of the elementary schools, we serve breakfast in the classroom. What I have to do is work with the principals to try and have them in all classrooms. It seems to me the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th, they just have, just can go to the cafeteria. They don't have that option for the classroom. I think there's scheduling problems, not problems, but things we have to work out so they can be included in the classroom feeding.
This is to the superintendent. Is there any additional support we can give food services to encourage the school principals? Because, I mean, part of what's happening with our kids is, all the studies have shown without proper nutrients and proper, nourishment, the attention span and education suffers. So I think that it would behoove us to increase the participation by all means.
Absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll set up a committee, include Director Levitt and our directors, our instructional directors as well, so that we can examine the master schedule and see ways in which we could incorporate that into the school day and increase our numbers. Absolutely.
Because there's various
We'll
support throughout the state, through various vendors, Director, that will help make the process easier for the principals, because I think they may be conflicted with how the food is served. So there's various types of breakfast that you can serve that won't become a problem in the classroom, from the carry-on cases that can go in the classroom, and all of that can get funded and supported. So, I guess the committee can discuss that and explore all those opportunities.
Can I just ask a quick question? Because I know what Stan is talking about, because I sat on that committee too. Isn't what Stan's referring to considered her future initiatives, breakfast in the classroom and the grab-and-go breakfast that's going to be implemented in September?
That's just for
That's
the
for
high
high school.
schools.
Oh,
We
that's for high
actually
school.
received a grant for some mobile units to be used throughout the high schools. So this will capture the people that are coming in just right before the bell, so they can grab it and go
Grab
to
a
their
bag, yeah.
classes.
Well, thank you so much for putting this presentation together. I appreciate how detailed it was and how quick and to the point you were with doing your presentation. You weren't long with it. I appreciate that. I appreciate your menu that you put together. It looks very good.
Thank you.
And yeah, I just want to say thank you. I
Thank
thought
you.
this was going to be a really, really long presentation, but you were under 15 minutes, so I appreciate that.
12 minutes to be exact.
Madam President, I have another question.
Yes.
Director, you lost me in the entitlement foods and bonus foods. Please direct us as to the direction that you talked. So you talked about out of the total of food distribution systems from the USDA, 50% is routed to the warehouse. What does that mean exactly?
That means I have 50% of our allocation I have sent to our physical warehouse that Plant and Property delivers to the various schools.
And then what is diverted to process commodities?
What we can do is process commodities. They're really like USDA foods that they send to vendors, and they in return make things like chicken nuggets, hamburgers, that type of food.
That gets delivered to the schools.
And then I have a distributor that delivers those processed commodities to the schools.
Oh, okay. So the warehouse doesn't do.
No,
Those
no.
particular vendors like deliver chicken nuggets to
Directly.
whatever school we assigned them to, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I believe it was the last meeting, Maximum Quality Foods received the contract to deliver processed commodities.
Would that also include pizza, stuff like that?
Yes, they do pizza as well.
Okay, so a particular vendor would be assigned to deliver.
Yes, what we do, as far as pizza is concerned, what I do is I can pick cheese to be diverted for pizza, diverted to a vendor to make pizza.
Separate from the pizza itself?
No, they use the cheese to make the pizza, so they will give us a lower cost.
Okay, so that's for the purpose of cost.
Yes.
Okay. And then the Department of Defense produce?
Yep, that's what they call it. Department of Defense has a.
Because we really thought we were like, okay, we got to deal with the Army here.
National
That's
Guard's
just what they
dropping
call
off
it.
pizza
So
and
it's called
cheese.
Department of Defense produce?
Yes.
So it has nothing to do with the United States Department of Defense?
Yes, it does.
Oh, it does?
They,
It does.
they run the program.
Really?
It's under the umbrella of the Department
Okay.
of Agriculture, yes.
Yep.
So it's with the Department of Agriculture or Department of Defense?
Well, it's the Department of Defense. We can give them commodity dollars for produce.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were completely, I
Yeah.
saw all our faces.
We all
were
looked
all
at
like,
each other like, what? Like, we need our head of security to go get our food.
we're
now.
not by ourselves. Directors were thinking the same thing.
I think the Department of Defense pays for it or organizes it, and they contract a local produce provider like Gargiulo's actually does the distribution.
Way above all of us.
It's not our world.
But that's the way it is.
May I ask, the summer vending, what is summer vending?
The Summer Vended Program is where we make the lunches at School 25, and then Plant and Property will distribute them to the 47 locations.
Okay.
Like the recreation
Summer programs with the city.
programs and the YMCA.
So that's not the same as catering?
No.
So I guess then so I know what summer vending is, so what is catering?
Catering is, for example, School 89 wants to have breakfast for 200 students on May 18th. And we charge a certain price, and they will pay for it.
Okay.
Who will pay for it?
And now, let me explain, the vended program, I don't want to confuse you, but what happens is the city, like the City of Elizabeth, will have a contract with the district. And we will charge them what they will get reimbursed by the state.
Yes, yes.
That makes sense?
Anyone have any questions? I
Yes.
know how that works, so
No.
I'm good.
Yes. Yes.
I have one more. What do we do with our leftover food? The food that, obviously not what's on the trays, but leftover apples, leftover milk.
Yeah, milk goes into the garbage.
Does it-
We have to be, I'm concerned with food safety. So how it's handled, if a child picks it up and brings it back to the table with him and doesn't eat it, it gets thrown away. You know what? I don't think we have that much left over. Again, if it's a certain quality that we can serve it the next day, we will. But if it's not, it gets thrown away. There's not that much waste in our end, the back end. We have to serve these vegetables. Some of the students do not like it, and thus it gets thrown out.
I'm sorry, I have a question again. So you keep the food to the next day?
If there's some
What kind-
left over,
What is left, give me an example of what you would leave for the next day.
well, it could be almost anything that we're serving.
Like a burger?
No, we wouldn't keep burgers.
Oh, I'm just,
No.
I mean, I'm gonna guess you're saying apples and bananas.
Yes.
You're not saying food that you cooked today to give tomorrow.
Would you do baked ziti?
Like macaroni and cheese?
I'm just wondering. I'm just asking.
I haven't
You're
seen
asking me or
macaroni-
asking her?
No, I'm not asking you. I'm asking. I can't.
Oh, okay, because you're looking at me.
I mean, I can move my chips.
My concern with that, like, I eat leftovers at home, but I don't know if I want my school district to be giving leftovers to kids the next day for food that's cooked. That's a little concerning for me.
I don't think it's a huge quantity that because they eat it all that day. We try to prepare, we have production records, we try to prepare for the day. So there aren't leftovers.
Yeah, but you didn't answer my question. If there are leftovers, what are some examples of what would you give the next day? Do you know that or do you not know?
I don't know specifically.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, yeah. Would we be able to like donate those things to a soup kitchen? Or, okay, so it has to go in the trash.
Yes.
But you're saying that you don't know if they go to the trash. You can't. Some people may be keeping them to give to the kids
You know,
the next day.
I haven't seen that routinely.
Okay. Okay.
I only have one more question. The sports programs, how do we decide what teams get snacks, food? I know that some teams get food when they come back from games. Some teams are fed before games. Some teams get snacks before they practice. How do we decide?
Recently, Mr. Candolino, I don't know if he's here, but he put in the request for meals for sports and snacks. And I believe we have them all covered. All the teams covered. And this just started in April as far as sports teams.
So all the teams, freshman, JV, varsity?
We make those meals for whatever Mr. Candolino filled out the paperwork for. I don't recall offhand
Okay.
which
Would you
which
be able to
teams.
provide that for our next, maybe coordinate
Sure.
with Mr. Candolino? My question is, I'd like to know who's getting fed and what they're getting fed.
Okay.
If it's a snack, if they're getting a full-blown meal. And now with us expanding our sports program, I just want to make sure that our kids are getting what they all need to get. And I'm super excited about the grab and go. I'm hoping that your department will coordinate with our IT department and make it cool to grab and go so that every high school student in Elizabeth grabs and goes and eats and is ready to learn when they sit down in the morning.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes.
Board Member Moreno?
Yes,
Ortega?
it's for our superintendent. Breakfast participation percent is very low. Do you planning to address this issue, or it might, for example, what happens sometimes in another district is the teacher that not give enough time to eat. That means it's no food services. And sometimes it's not the teacher, sometimes it's the student who arrive to the classroom to try to complete homework. This means will be, I don't know what we can do to avoid the student incomplete homework during breakfast time. Sometimes I say to my student, you know what, it's not time to work, it's just time to eat, and I give you 7 minutes. This means I wonder if you can investigate why we can do or why you can promote as a superintendent to increase the breakfast participation percent.
Right now in the district, the majority of our schools offer a breakfast program before school starts. So that's an opportunity for students to be able to participate prior to the school day beginning. So that's how it's structured at this present time, and that's a way in which we respond to our parents' needs. Since they need to be able to go to work, it provides them an opportunity to drop the children off a little bit earlier, participate in the breakfast program, and then be ready to learn. But I certainly understand your question with regard to how can we increase the participation rates. I think that's something we would have to explore with our parents in our community and delve a little bit deeper with regard to how we can encourage.
Now, my question is, as a student arrive late to any class, and they're very hungry, they are allowed to have breakfast or not?
It is a common practice where students will be sent down to the cafeteria and ensure that they have what it is that they need before they start the day. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly.
And the other last question is for our director. Page 42. Thank you.
Page 42. Which one is that? I don't have.
Yes, facilitate cooperation with education partners such as administrator, teacher, parents, and students. Can you explain to me? Page 42.
And I'm sorry.
For your major duties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes.
Oh, contributed food service?
Yeah, can you explain that one for me?
Oh, yes. When we have well, for example, we have a new school opening near School 14. I was talking to Mr. Cotto this afternoon, how we were going to feed the students and what equipment that I would need to purchase. I also want to revisit the merchandising of our current cafeterias to make it more attractive.
Okay.
I know that I'm done with all the high schools, but I would like to extend it to some of the K through 8 as well.
My last point to our superintendent, Olga, any way we can promote poster inside the cafeteria about eat healthy, myplate.org, or things like that, like how important, because I don't see nutritional poster in some school, yes, but not in every school.
I believe we can explore with the USDA
Yes.
because I know they provide a great deal of materials, so we can certainly obtain for our schools.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Certainly add that.
Madam President? Madam President? Thank you. Yes, Director, can I ask if you can do a further breakdown for the breakfast participation percentage? If you could break down the K through 8s and then the high school,
Oh, yes.
if you can?
I don't
Or
know
non-squat, if you
I
do
don't
for
know
next
the
month.
K through 8 right off the top of my head, but I know that the high school, we're only capturing about 25% of the student population, which is very low.
So we're looking at about 50.
I'm hoping to.
Another 25, okay.
Yes,
For the K through 8.
with the grab and go.
Do you think it would be easier if we started the grab and go maybe in 7th grade, 8th grade? So that if they're used to doing this, when they're younger, introduce it maybe in the 8th grade?
Well, in 7th and 8th grade, there we still have the classroom feeding, and they have more time, or they tend to get to school in time and go to the cafeteria to eat breakfast. That's what I'm finding.
The concept of grabbing
Yes.
and going, just so that
They could pick up the habit.
But that's with participating schools that don't find it to be a problem in their schedule. Because you have some schools, from what we're hearing, that find it to be a conflict for them. So we have to make it an easier process so that the kids can get access to it.
Right. We have a lot of work ahead of us,
Well, we're excited.
together.
Any other questions? Oh, I do.
Yes, ma'am.
I do. Okay. This is great. I love it that you're, I think it was Madame Board President that brought it up.
Yes.
Doing every single department, because it's so important to understand the work that they do on a daily basis. And it's great that we start with food and services. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you for the breakfast program, because it is, I know you made mention, and I'm a parent that, thank God, you can drop off at 7:45, and,
Yes.
and you know that they can eat, and so it's important to remember things like that. All right, to my questions. How do we I know reimbursement. How is reimbursement calculated? Is it because the student's ID is scanned, and then at the end, you get data, and is that how they reimburse
Exactly.
you?
Exactly.
Perfect, okay. Next question. As far as operational, I saw here it is, the organizational chart. So at what level, who goes out to the field and monitors refrigerator temperatures, the stability of our fruits and vegetables, things like that? That's,
Right
Which
now,
one?
it's just myself.
so you go to the different schools?
Yes. I generally do breakfast and lunch, and Mr. Salvatore does lunch and the after-school programs, and the fresh fruit and vegetable.
So but like goes out and you check, the
cook managers.
The cook, how clean, the refrigerator and the preparation area is, and
Yes.
things like that. So between you and Mr. Salvatore, you guys keep that on track. Do you
Yes.
do it like monthly, or is it like every 6
Oh, no,
months?
we go to schools on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and not even like surprise visits, correct?
Yes.
And annually, the Department of Health
Of
has to
Health.
go through
Absolutely.
and certify all the kitchens, so.
Okay, but
I have full
internally.
knowledge of
yeah,
that.
of course, yeah. I know that, yeah.
We gotta
Department
make
of
sure they
Health
all
has it.
pass, so.
But then internally, we also have our checks and balances, correct?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
absolutely.
perfect. And I think that's all I had.
I had a question to what you were asking, Diane, Commissioner Barbosa. So you mentioned that they scan their IDs. So I don't know if this is a question for you or Superintendent. So the elementary school children all have IDs? So how do they?
How do we get reimbursed?
So how do they get reimbursed for the elementary school children?
We have rosters.
Yeah,
Okay, so they don't get scanned IDs? No,
not at the elementary level.
got it.
I know that my children memorized their ID.
Number.
Yeah.
Some know 'em.
I think they learned their ID before they learned how to spell their name.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, one more.
I'm sorry, I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
I remember last year there was an initiative where there's the issue of children's unpaid lunch balances. So I'm wondering what the status is of our district when it comes to children's unpaid lunch balances. Because it was a big concern on social media of campaigns, GoFundMes, to pay off student loan balances, and that's an issue that concerns me. I know you don't have that answer right now, but I'm just wondering where we are in that
This is-
issue.
What we do is every week, we send out letters to the parents for negative balances or low balances so they can keep their children's accounts up to date. So they get a weekly reminder. We also have a program called myschoolbucks.com, so parents have the ability to go online and pay their child's account or put money on their account so meals are paid for.
Now, the My School Bucks account, that charges a service fee still?
Yes, it does.
What's the service fee?
I think it's $2.44.
Is there any way we can research to see if there's another program that may not be fee-based?
You know what? I don't know of any program that's going to do it for free. I think we had this discussion before, and I think I did a little research, and I could not find anything with a much lower fee. This company, My School Bucks, also works with our software as part of our software system.
And another thing I'm wondering, because I try to keep my daughter's school balance in check.
Yes.
But I know in years past, I would always receive numerous letters of, low balance and things of that nature. Is that really truly an effective way to communicate to the parents that they have a low balance rather than maybe through email, Facebook, or automated phone calls? Because we're extending postage for all of those letters that keep going out. So I'm just wondering what your postage bill when it comes to that is. I know you don't know the answer to that.
Well, actually, I do have an answer.
you
Moving forward, we're going to try to have enough funds to update our POS system where we can send emails out instead of letters.
Yeah, that would
But
I think be more effective.
That will be next year.
Thank you so much for this presentation. It was very informative, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns for any of our directors from the board members? Any questions from the directors for us? We're gonna get a
Yeah,
question out of
I
you
have-
guys before the end of the year. Wait,
I
board
have
member.
something. Teacher appreciation is this month. Yes, ma'am. I want to say thank you to each teacher, and I hope each principal can recognize just a little bit. I don't know if the superintendent can engage the administrator to please do not forget to recognize and create activities to recognize the teachers. Yes, teacher appreciation. I want to make sure if you want to engage the administrator to recognize teacher, the student can, sometimes as a student we forget about it, promote it,
We actually, every year, and it's our technology department that does an amazing job. It's an opportunity for students, for parents to be able to recognize the teachers. So that's something that we do on an annual basis. We also have our educators that are being recognized on May 23rd at Kane University, and on an annual basis, we also invite them to a special board meeting. Our career and technical ed, our culinary program, the students actually prepare the food for all that are invited, the administrators together with their teachers. So we really invest a great deal of time in acknowledging the hard work and dedication of our teachers. Absolutely. So stay tuned for that date. That'll be coming up very shortly. Yes.
Okay, hearing no more questions from anyone, I want to thank all of our directors for coming out. I apologize again for the late start, but it was a little rough going at it today. We do our best to get here from work ourselves, and do have challenges like everyone else. Again, thank you for coming out. We will see you all next month for our meeting, and I think next month's presentation is...
Next month, we have our Human Resource Department that will be presenting on June 11th.
Looking forward to Human Resources. Yes, we are. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next month. At this time, the President requests a motion to go into private session to consider matters exempt under the Open Public Meeting Act, specifically for discussion of personnel, specifically reorganization, 18-19 school calendar, contracts for certified and non-certified, reorganization, non-renewals, increment withholdings, legal, specifically short-term loan, risk management and health benefits, renewals, residency investigation results, settlement of litigation. Roll call, please.
Can we get a motion?
Motion to go into private?
Second?
Roll call.
Barbosa.
Yes.
Bathalis. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Marina Ortega.
Yes.
Naran. Yes. Carvalho.
Yes. Thank you again, everyone. Good night.
What do you say, legal settlement?
You too.
See you around.
Absolutely.
If you need to call an emergency
I think they all got rice notices on Fridays.
They didn't come speak, though. They didn't speak.
No, they decided.
Olga. Yes, ma'am. Who are those three that are with Joe?
up. She's going to be on the 10th. She wants me to present her.